Good afternoon, everyone. I hope every one of you and your family members are doing perfectly fine in this third wave of the pandemic. Now, talking of the pandemic, I'll first like to discuss what we are going to as and what is the flow of this webinar. Firstly, there might be some ambiguity over like, will we have the second term examinations? Will it be offline, online? We'll just have a word about that. Then we'll defer ourselves to the bifurcated and the reduced syllabus, as we already know that the council firstly reduced the syllabus and then gave a second notification for further reduced syllabus, right? Then we'll shed light on the specimen question paper. Sorry for that spelling error. Question paper released by the board. And then we can just discuss among ourselves how to prepare or how to guide our students in a better way to face this second term subjective paper. And then lastly, we'll go through some key points, what are important, what are there in the question bank and the model test paper to be released, or rather, which is already out from Goyal brother Prakash. Okay, and I have muted you all. I'll just request all of you to note down or pen down all the points of bifurcation. Like if you have any disagreement, or you want to share something, and we'd like to have or rather discuss all of them at the end of this webinar. Okay, so moving ahead. Firstly, the board has already indicated, both the boards, I would say CBSE as well as ICSE, that exams are very much going to be conducted. As can be seen with the ongoing current pandemic situation, this third wave potentially, hopefully rather, will be over really soon. So as per the initial plan of the board, we are very much on track for having the second term of the 10th class examinations in March, likely, or maybe over March and April. So I am almost 90% sure that yes, the situation will not get worsened from here, and we are very much going to be on track for having an offline examinations conducted in home as well as like the centers given to us. Next, we already know, like in the starting of the course itself, it was clear that the board has distributed the year's syllabus into two terms. We are already done with the first term in November. So our entire paper of 100 marks was broken down into 50-50, out of which we have done the first part as term one in the 40 marks paper. The remaining 10 marks were left to the school as internal assessment in forms of maybe how the children has been active throughout the year, his notebook records, his practicals, etc. Now we'll entirely be focusing to term two, since that is at hand. Now we have a very clear cut bifurcated syllabus. So out of our entire 6 units which are there in class 10th physics, starting with force, work and power and energy, light, sound, electricity and magnetism, heat, and modern physics. Now we have already done with the first 2 units and 1/3 of the sound unit. We are done with the reflection of sound and echo part of the sound. So we are yet to do with the second 2 units and the entire electricity and magnetism, heat, and modern physics. We will take some time to discuss what exactly is in the final reduced syllabus as issued by the board. So I will just take each of the units one by one, all the chapters, if you might be referring to any book of the board. I hope you'll be able to relate easily. So moving on, coming to the first unit, sound, it's broadly differentiated into three parts in a chapter, right? We normally, let's say, have it as a chapter 7 of a book. So it's like 7A, 7B, 7C. These are the three broad categories a particular chapter is broken down into. So the first part of it, as I already said, 1/3 of it, that is reflection of sound and echo, has already been completed in term one. So we need not be discussing. Now, what's left with part B, that is free, damped, forced vibrations, and resonance. So I've already penned down the 5 subtopics we have in this part B, which is the first thing to be considered in the syllabus for term 2 examination. The third part of this unit, sound, features the characteristics of sound and its subjective and objective properties. That is exactly how it is, right? So under it, we have characteristics of sound and its properties, and there was a second topic of music and noise. Now I have tried to do this. In the next slide, you will be able to see some of these subtopics in different colors. Like we see music and noise in red color. That means this portion has been totally omitted. We can skip this, as in like we can completely tell the students like, please do not go through this subsection of this particular part C. Now I have characteristics of sound and this. Some part of it has been removed, like as in the unit, decibel and all the graphs. So moreover, we are just left with the subjective things like the intensity, like the pitch, the objective aspect, as in the loudness to be measured, sorry, the intensity to be measured in decibels, the log graphs, that all have been skipped. Okay, so moving on from this sound to the next unit, that is a broad part of our curriculum for term 2, that is electricity and magnetism. Now, usually our textbooks breaks this entire unit into different chapters. The first chapter among them is current electricity, which further is broken down into two subparts A and B. The first one deals with the concept of charge, current, electric potential, the potential difference, resistance, and finally we discuss the Ohm's law. In the second part of this chapter, we deal with the electromotive force, the potential difference, the terminal voltage, potential difference, internal resistance, all these parameters of a cell. Further, in the second half of this part B, we talk about the combination laws of resistors, that is series and parallel laws, which form to be a really integral part of the syllabus as has been seen in the specimen paper released. So these particularly are the topics in the first part, that is, as I was already saying, we introduced the concepts of electric charge, current, potential, and difference. We introduce resistance. We discuss its variation with the length and the cross-sectional area of a conductor. And we finally arrive at Ohm's law. And here I would suggest like the graph is a potential question which we might expect in the final exams, like a VI characteristic graph of a resistor, and some inference has to be drawn like what is the, we can form the slope of a given VI graph, the resistance has to be found out. The next topic was experimental verification of Ohm's law, which was using an entire circuit with a key, rheostat, and other things to show, basically to gather the points required for plotting that IV graph, right? The next topic in this particular section is ohmic and non-ohmic conductors, how they're different. Again, we can have some graphs on this. Next, we have the topic of specific resistance as a property of a material and how does resistance vary with specific resistance. Lastly, there was a small topic on the variation of resistance with the temperature. And in the second part, we had the electromotive force, terminal voltage, all these parameters of a cell. And lastly, the series and parallel combination of resistors in electric circuits. Now, there is an important place I like all of you to pay attention. This experimental verification of Ohm's law is no more in the syllabus. So we may not expect any particular question having that circuit given with a rheostat in it. It's been skipped. Lastly, the variation of resistance with temperature. Even as before, we did not have a particular mathematical relation, but there was a theoretical explanation like how does the resistance of a semiconductor or a metallic conductor vary with temperature. It's been removed. As for part B, you can see all of the topics are very much there and rather are important topics for the second term preparation. Moving on to the second chapter we have under this unit 4, electricity and magnetism, is electric power and household circuits. Now again, this entire chapter has been broken down into three parts A, B, C, namely electric energy and power, household circuits, some essential components of house wiring system. Now I'll just quickly run down through the topics. In part A, we have electrical energy, measurement of electrical energy. We have electrical power concept and the SI in the commercial unit, that is kilowatt hour, again is an important topic. And lastly, we can expect a question on like the calculation of electricity bill with given three appliances running for given number of hours. We can expect a question like that. And the last topic in this part was this, what we are talking about, that comes under household consumption. The calculation of the bill, if it's given ki the per unit bill costs you 5 rupees, these many appliances were running for these many hours, calculate the monthly bill, right? As in part B, we had the household wiring, the main circuit consisting of the three wires, the live, neutral, and the ground wire. We also had the ring structure. In this, I'll like to emphasize that only the diagram has been skipped. Just the qualitative idea has to be given about this ring structure wiring. Lastly, we have MCB and its advantage. We can expect a small, maybe MCQ question on this MCBI. As for part C, we have fuse and switch, their nature of the work. Then we had a topic of two-way switch, or which we also know as staircase wiring, right? Next are earthing, its importance in circuitry. To follow it up are three-pin plug and socket of the work, the wiring structures. Lastly, we have safety precautions and color coding of wires. I guess there was also a last topic, it cannot be seen here. There's high tension wires, I guess, out here in this topic. So, out of this, as we can see, this staircase wiring has been omitted from the syllabus. Rest all is very much there. So it's very small omission from this second part B of this chapter, electrical power and household circuits. Also, this cannot be seen right now on the screen. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. But that last topic of part C, which says high tension wires, that also has been removed from the curriculum.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at Rs 1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows three-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tuesday and avail your courses at affordable prices.
Moving on, this was all about the current, electricity and the household circuits. The third chapter we have in this unit features electromagnetism, which further has been divided into three parts. First is the magnetic effect of the current, in which we obviously first start with the Oersted's experiment. Now, in this entire unit, all the laws need not be explained, or they might not be learned as a student, like cite Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. I'm talking about this entire magnetism part. Let it be part A, B, or C. We need not be asking our students to read about citing laws or writing them down as a theory question. It's been clearly cited the laws has been removed and only the principle, or rather their application in a question, might be asked. We can obviously will be discussing them when we take some experts from the specimen question paper. So coming back, in first part we have the Oersted experiment to be followed by basic idea of magnetic field produced by current carrying conductor and the field lines and their properties in brief. This next topic must be dealt with properly, that is the right hand thumb rule. Out of all these thumb rules, the right hand, Fleming's right and left hand, we can definitely expect one or couple of questions. We can definitely expect that. So a student must be very, very clear how to use them. And there should be no confusion at all in which particular case Maxwell's right hand rule or the Fleming's left or right hand rules are to be employed to find maybe the relevant direction of the current or direction of magnetic field, whatever the case may be. Next, we had the magnetic field as in like what would be the direction, as in pictorially, the field created by a circular loop or a coil, a single loop, which further was graduated in the next topic, that is a number of coils kept adjacent to each other forms a solenoid. So how does a magnetic field of a solenoid look like, and what are the causes, on what factors does it depend? The last topic here is electromagnets and permanent magnets, the differences, which is better. And this again becomes an important topic as the specimen paper suggests. So we can make a note like this small theoretical topic of electromagnets and permanent magnets, and which one is the better among them and what are the differences, it becomes an important topic from maybe a 1 mark MCQ coming out of it, a conceptual problem maybe, or maybe a 2 mark theoretical question, sorry, a 3 mark theoretical question in one of the section B of the paper as we discuss further ahead. In the part B of this electromagnetism, we discuss the force on a current carrying conductor, right? When placed in an external magnetic field. So again, this is just a qualitative idea has to be given to the student. Ki we know that yes, a current carrying conductor when placed in a magnetic field must feel a force upon that. And the qualitative idea best would be given by Fleming's left hand rule. One should have clarity over the directions of the three things, right? The force, the magnetic field, and the current. That is all what Fleming's left hand rule is. Last part of this topic was DC motors. Now, part C included all of electromagnetic induction, which is basically starts up with Faraday's law and then the Fleming's right hand rule as well as Lenz's law to find the direction of the induced current. Lastly, we have as an application of electromagnetic induction was the the AC generator and transformers. Plus, we had a topic in between generator and transformers as comparison between alternating and direct current, right? AC and DC के बीच का comparison. So out of this, again, there have been deductions. You can make a note of them. This magnetic field due to solenoid in part A have been omitted. So we may restrict our knowledge for a kid till a given single circular loop. Although I'll personally recommend the solenoid must be introduced to that person, because even a person has to be made understand with the topic of electromagnetic induction. That is how we teach it, like a coil being a solenoid being moved to an near or further away from a magnet. Okay, so you may just introduce the idea of solenoid, but we need not tell a kid on what factors does a magnetic field of a solenoid depend, like namely the current passing through it or the number of turns. That can be excluded. In part B, a big topic, the entire this DC motor has been totally chucked off. When it comes to part C, again the application part, that is the AC generator, the entire construction working, plus the Lenz law that has been removed. So now, as a student, we only have to our aid Fleming's right hand rule to find the direction of the induced current. Lenz law has been removed off. Lastly, transformers or the primary secondary coil, another application of electromagnetic induction, also have been scrapped off from the curriculum. So this was all about this. This is obviously a big part of a curriculum of term 2, electricity and magnetism, including 3 chapters and all. I hope I was able to clear what is coming and what is not. Moving ahead to unit 5, which is heat or calorimetry. This normally features as a single chapter in a book, further divided into 3 parts, A, B, and C. First one deals with the heat capacity, all the specific heat capacity, introducing the notion of heat and temperature. Then the principle of calorimetry is one of the most important topics. Obviously, we definitely should be expecting a 3 or 4 marks numerical based on this, like heat gained is equal to heat lost, like how much heat would be required to take ice at -20 to maybe water at 40 degrees. This might be a composite question involving both the part B as well latent heat concept as well as the concept of principle of calorimetry, or known as principle of mixtures, is included in one question as it is. Now, the last 2 topics in part A were measurement of the specific heat of solid and the consequences of high heat capacity of a material. In part B, we basically were dealing with the change of phase, the heat curve of water, like showing the change of state from solid to liquid to vapor state. The next topic included vaporizing and boiling. And lastly, we gave the concept of latent heat of fusion and vaporization to the student. Obviously, this part also includes simple numericals like heat is equal to mass into multiplied with latent heat of fusion or vaporization, whichever is relevant in a given situation. Now, again, in this, there are things which are omitted. We should take clear note. The calorimeter as an instrument, its description has been checked off. Then the measurement of specific heat of solid as an experiment, how it is done, it's been removed. As in part B, this vaporizing and boiling topic. And importantly, this latent heat of vaporization has been removed. So even in numericals, we can specifically expect heat. Obviously, it will either be from solid to liquid or liquid to solid state, right? Which only be including latent heat of fusion since vaporization happened. Coming to our last unit, that is modern physics, in which we talk about thermoionic emissions and radioactivity. This comes again as a single chapter in any reference book, which is divided into again part A and B. First one deals with thermoionic emission, and radioactivity, and the later part deals with atomic structure and radioactivity. Sorry, there's a misprint. The first part only deals with the thermoionic emissions. Now, the first part is totally removed. That is the thermoionic emission, not the radioactivity. Please do not get confused. The radioactivity accidentally has been written both in part A as well as part B. It's in part B. So I'll again repeat this for clarity. In this unit 6, modern physics, we had two parts. First part is thermoionic emission, which has totally been removed from the syllabus. So I have not even cared to mention its subtopics. The second part, which is atomic structure, the nuclear structure, and radioactivity, that subtopics have been penned down. So as you can see beneath, part B topics says, firstly, we introduce the kids with structure of atoms and nucleus, the basic terms like atomic number, mass number, the number of electrons, protons, etc. We talk about isotones and isobars, all these pairs. Then comes the main thing is radioactivity. It is an important topic. We can definitely expect a theoretical question or even MCQ coming from radioactivity. Under radioactivity, we see alpha, beta, and gamma, these radiation as a part of radioactive decay happening in nuclei. Next, we one by one go through their nature of these radiations, the properties, and it's been specifically written in the curriculum as laid down by the board, like an example of an equation. Like students must be really clear with a uranium breaks down into thorium, like what is happening, is it alpha decay, and he should be able to write a balanced equation, as in balance as in the charge, atomic mass, and the atomic number part of it must be balanced, right? He or she should be able to write the balance. He should be able to, it could come as a fill in the blanks question in an MCQ. The reactant and a daughter nuclei are given, plus the options could be ki alpha particle hona chahiye tha, helium 2 plus, or it had to be an electron or a positron, some four options, right? Could be made. Further, we have what are the changes that goes inside the nucleus in radioactivity. Either it's like a neutron changing into a proton and a beta decay, like that. There is a specific topic of radioisotopes which has been kept as it is. Lastly, all these topics, harmful effects and safety precautions, and the background radiations. As it is, this entire part B, nothing has been omitted from this part, unit 6 of modern physics from our curriculum. The entire part B is very much in for curriculum. So I hope I was able to create some clarity over what topics are coming and what are not. Moving ahead.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at rupees 1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available, with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments, and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers, and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutor and avail your courses at affordable prices.
As we'll just talk about, we already must have come across the specimen question paper released by the board. Now, obviously, we know the basic details. It's a 40-mark paper. Students will be allotted the time of 10 minutes for the reading and subsequent 1.5 hours as the writing time. Now, broadly, the paper has been divided into two sections, A and B. Now, section A is something which the students currently in class 10th over the past 2 years, they have been very much familiar with MCQs. That is what part A is. It consists of 10 questions of 1 mark each, and all are multiple choice questions with 4 options, out of which only one is correct. This is exactly what they have done in their term one, right? A complete MCQ based question paper. Now, section B is something we need to focus our attention to. It's a completely subjective section of this particular term 2 question paper. It consists of 5 questions. Each question further has been broken down into 3 questions. So now each question has been given a weightage of 10 marks in total. That means all the 3 sub questions, which only have the options to be like as 3 marker, 3 marker, and 4 marker, right? 3 plus 3 plus 4 makes up 10. So each 10-mark question, and we have such 5 10-mark questions in section B. Each question has been broken down into 3 sub questions, 1 of 3 marks, 2 of 3 marks, and 1 of 4 marks. Now we can again see, we'll rather see that a 4-mark question among that particular 10-marker question further have maybe 4 subparts, smaller subparts. And the important point I'll make here is that SNEAK in one question, the 3 sub questions are from a given unit only. It's a complete mix. I can have a first question from a unit heat, second maybe from electricity, and third maybe from something from radioactivity. So it's a complete mix. Now, as a student, I'm been given an option to do any 3 out of these 5 questions. Okay, I'll repeat this. There are 5 questions, each of 10 marks. We have to do any 3 out of them. So there are no internal choices in questions. However, we have an overall choice. Like out of 5 questions, that is potentially 5 into 3, 15 questions. We need to do 3 into 3, 9 questions. So we have 30 marks from section B, that is 3 questions. 3 questions, big questions of 10 marks, which further have been broken down into 3 questions each. So that is 3 into 3, 9 questions. In section B have to be attempted. And there are then again 10 MCQs priorly discussed in section. So in totality, we have to do 19 questions in our term 2 paper as a student. That is what we have to be prepared for. Okay. Now, these are some of the questions just I have picked as an example. On your left, we can see an example of an MCQ which we all are familiar with. What broadly I just observed just browsing through those 10 MCQs is the questions are more towards conceptual. They are, I won't say they are tough. Like even out of these 10 questions, there were barely 2 or 3 basic numericals, which were at the end just like multiplying or dividing 2 numbers, and even the numbers were like they would cancel out. So this is something, if a student is really well with its application of a particular concept, he'll be able to do it okay in this MCQs. Now on the right side, we can see an example of section B question. We can see that it's a question broken down into 3 questions. So you can see in Roman numbers 1, 2, and 3. And even under each, we have sub classifications like A, B, C. So it's not like a sub question is like just one question. It will be some 2, 3 related questions, obviously. And as we can see, each of the 3 part of a given question features from different units. So there is no guarantee at all that a student might pick up between units, as in key out of 5, if I have to just attempt 3, I could just skip the last heat unit or maybe the last modern physics unit on radioactivity. No, that cannot be done because each question has basically 3 sub questions from different units. So at the end of the day, if I have to do 3 such questions, I'll have to do 9 questions coming from all the units. So I cannot afford to skip something. Okay. My further analysis I was saying is MCQs are conceptual, very less numericals. Even if there are numericals, they are very straightforward. So as a student, out of the allotted 90 minutes, one should not, I lay emphasis, one should not be giving more than 15 minutes at any cost to this part A. One should sufficiently try to keep 1 hour and 15 minutes specifically for part B, that is to attempt 9 questions. Now, again, once or rather when the student is given that 10-minute reading time, as a teacher, we can guide a student. Lay your entire reading of that 10 minutes, go to your part B. There is no need to read your part A. There are no choices. Jab question karne honge, we'll read them and we'll do it. We know it, we know it. We don't know, we can't help. We'll do a guess since it's an MCQ, right? There's no negative marking of this. So all those 10 minutes should be specifically used to read the part B of the question paper. You specifically read all those 5 questions, that means 15 questions, and make a decision there itself in that reading time which 3 we have to opt. Don't leave it to your actual writing time. That will be a sheer waste of time on a student's end. Now, I've already cleared out that there's no internal choice in part B, right? We overall have a choice. ऐसा नहीं है कि I can do 2 subparts from question 1 and third from question 2. No, I'll have to take all the 3 parts from section 1, or question 1, or question 2, or question 3. So out of the 5 questions in part B, I have to 3. I cannot do some interchanging. I do 2 subparts from first question and first from the next question. We cannot do that. Lastly, there's a small pie chart showing the contributions from each unit broadly. How much is the weightage coming out from sound, electricity, magnetism? There's a good chunk coming from electricity and magnetism, obviously, which is expected given the vastness of the curriculum in those 2 topics. Lastly, this is like I got it online, obviously. It's a broad analysis of the paper based on a percentage figure key. What is the broader aspects, like it's application based, how much part of it is based on evaluation or just learning. So that gives the breakup, or I would say the analysis of the specimen question paper we have it ever had. Now, how do we guide our students? I could think of first thing that was focus our students to write more and more. I hope all of you would agree with me if I say like students have totally lagged their intent in writing. Like last 2 years, we have only been conducting online exams that to MCQ based mostly, right? So they are very lesser habit of writing for 1 hour in a go. So we need to encourage our students to focus more and more on writing part also, because this is a subjective paper, right? Next is numerical solving. Now, out of the entire syllabus, if we notice carefully, there are some places, those are the places from where we can expect a 3-mark or a 4-marker numerical popping up from. For example, definitely we have a numerical from heat calorimetry. It might involve latent heat concept or not. Could simply be like calculate the heat exchanged if water at this temperature and ice at this temperature. Make some questions of this kind. We can expect numericals from power based, right? We can start expect simple numericals from the very starting. That is, how is the potential, electric potential, the work done, and the electric charge are related. A small formula, right? Next is, this has to be conveyed to the students properly, or as a teacher, we should inculcate it, we should get it practice the application part. We specifically have these 3 rules, hand rules given by Maxwell and the Fleming in the magnetism part of the electricity and magnetism unit. These have to be dealt with clarity with the student. Like there should be no doubt left at a student's level ki kab kisko use karna, the which rule has to be used when. Okay, we can definitely be expecting questions from this part. Lastly, another important part is circuitry, right? Electric circuits. Our students should be good, I would say, well aware how to solve the combination of resistances in series, in parallel, and even in mixed grouping. We can expect a mixed grouping circuit, but a simple one. Maybe couple of resistors in parallel with a resistor in series. That is what we can expect, right? So as a student, the circuit cannot be ignored. We definitely have a question coming up, maybe two, where we are asked to maybe find current or potential difference across a given component or resistor in a circuit, or we are asked to calculate for, let's say, power through a given resistor. We are definitely expecting questions from this, right? Circuits. Lastly, since it's a subjective paper and there will be some numericals that have to be dealt with, even if I have to choose 3 out of 5 questions from part B, potentially I'll end up with doing 1 or 2 numericals, even if I try to ignore them. So dealing with them, a student must be really careful with the SI units. That is what a question particular, if it is unless and until particularly specified, we know for that matter that only SI units have to be used for question solving. So specific care must be taken if in a particular question the heat is in joules and maybe the temperature is not in the given unit. Whatever. Okay.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at rupees 1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows three-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers, and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tuesday and avail your courses at affordable prices.
The question bank recently released by Goyals, how it can aid in the preparation on this term too. The book has a dedicated summary and list of questions coming from ranging from rather MCQs, 2 marker questions, 3 marker questions, 4 marker questions. There's a complete segregation mark wise, like with the solved answers, right, which allows a student to know how much to write if the same concept has been asked as a 2 marker or a 3 marker. It's science, right? We don't have to brag it. So this chapter wise summary and question bank clearly focuses on the key pointers as a student to be remembered in the entire chapter, what potential questions we might expect in different parts. Although we have our part B as a 10 mark question, which gets broken down into 3 and 4 mark questions, but even among those are basically 4 1 marker questions. So our question bank particularly has this 1 marker, 2 marker, clear segregation of different marker question and the related answer, what should be the longevity of the answer in each case. Further, there is obviously the specimen question paper released by the board with the proper answer scheme. And lastly, we have 5 model test papers which have been fabricated taking exact percentages from the same units what has been given in the specimen question paper. So those 5 unsolved model test papers are exactly on the line of the specimen question paper. So at the end, just before the exams, it is really good for a student to take 5 time-based exams at his or her place, right? That makes the kid much more focuses and realizes ki, this is the time, this much we have to write. So this is what all I had to share from my end. I would love to take your doubts, if any.
Yeah,
So
sir, we can take few questions now. One question from Miss Nalini is fusion and fission not included, right?
yes, ma'am. I never have mentioned, right? I did not even wrote it down in the syllabus. Fission and fusion both have been removed from the syllabus. And this 90 minutes is not including the reading time. It's except the reading time. So it's like first 10 minutes for reading and the next 1 hour or the 1 hour 30 minutes or the 90 minutes as the writing time.
Right. Any more questions?
I see Nalini ma'am, I guess, was raising a hand. Jatin, do we need to manually mute people or can they unmute themselves?
They can unmute themselves. Anuradha ma'am, you can unmute and speak.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
We just needed clarity whether superconductivity and heating effect of electric current is there or removed.
The heating effect of current and has been removed completely.
Okay.
There's nothing. We need not talk about the I square law for this.
Okay.
As for the
Superconductivity.
superconductivity, I guess most probably it features in the syllabus. I'll just confirm you in a moment. Just
okay, sir. So this 10 plus 90 minutes is confirmed, right? Confirmed.
Yeah, that is confirmed. That is very much confirmed now.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir. The session was very useful. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Applies.
Thank you.
Yusuf sir, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Good noon, sir. I am going to ask you that the concept of AC generator is included or not included, sir? Generator and transformers.
So I like to address that. As we said, like the basic notion of the electromagnetic induction has to be taught. So that obviously becomes the concept behind the AC generator. But as a device, its working construction that has been omitted. So if you clearly ask if the concept behind AC generator has to be taught, yes, because we are giving the notion of electromagnetic induction.
Deepti ma'am, you can unmute.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sir, in specimen paper, only 4 questions are given in section B. Out of the students have to attempt 3 questions, but you are telling that they will give 5 questions.
It's been updated, ma'am. It's been updated. 3 out of 5 questions have to be attempted.
Like other subjects also. In other subjects also, they have given 5 questions. Out of them, they have to attempt 3 questions.
Yeah, exactly, ma'am.
Sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Abhi Arshuji, transformer has been completely removed. But there might be a question in a MCQ like, what is the working principle of a transformer? So that can be asked, like it works on a principle of electromagnetic induction. But yeah, as a device, the number, how it is made, the primary, secondary of a transformer, all that has been removed. Next, I have from Chitali ma'am. Ma'am, the latent heat numericals are very much expected. I'll say they are potential questions, very much being there. I specifically said the latent heat of vaporization has been removed. Yes, Rajiji, experimental based questions on radioactivity will not be asked per se, for sure.
Right. So few of them are asking for the book. We have sent the books in your school. So if you don't have a hard copy, please contact your school library or principal ma'am or reception. We have sent hard copy of the book in the school. And if you want the soft copy sample, I am sharing a link on chat box. Here you can access the soft copy of the sample paper, which we have published. Sir, can I share my screen and show them how they can access?
Sure.
So with this link, page will open like this. Here you have to preview, and once you preview, the book will come. So you can share it with your and tell them. Also hard copy. Yeah, hard copies have been sent to schools. Please contact your school authorities. Yeah, sir, I think we have covered almost everything, and if there are still any questions left, we can definitely take.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Reshmi ma'am, yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Wonderful presentation, sir. Just wanted to ask a question to Goyal brothers itself, that I see that I have an option to buy the book. If I order for the book, how long would I take to get it in Bangalore?
Ma'am,
Or is
3
there
to
a
4
store I
days.
could go?
3 to
Is
4
there a
days, ma'am, you will get the books.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Ma'am, as for superconductivity, I'm on it. I'll shortly confirm. Just give me a moment more.
I'm also sharing a link where books are available, www.goyal-books.com. Also, if you search on Amazon, you will get all our books on Amazon as well.
Meanwhile, if you have any other doubts or questions, you may please ask.
I think, sir, we have cleared almost all the doubts.
Ma'am, as for that superconductivity, it is in syllabus.
And how many marks numerical can come, sir?
The numericals we might expect out of the 40-mark paper, including maybe 2 in MCQs, total of 25 to 30%. That will be 10 to 14 marks maybe.
Okay, sir. I think, sir, we have covered almost everything. All the
Hopefully, yeah.
topics are covered.
Sir, electric bell comes as an application. So yes, you can give this, but yeah, the working and construction or the diagram of an electric bell can be totally ignored. Yes, Pavneet, I don't know it's ma'am or sir, sorry for that. But yeah, Fleming School, I personally already emphasized should be dealt in greater detail, like maybe through a live class or an offline class with your students. You should be very much able to tell them like this is how we hold our hands. We have to be absolutely careful about if it's the right or the left hand. Like many of the students definitely have great confusion, right or left me. So yeah, I think it's a really important topic, and we can expect couple of questions from the right hand or the left hand rules. Okay, Jitin sir, I guess it's done. Okay, then thank you for all of your time. I'm just creating a WhatsApp group for doubt clearing session. This I guess Jitin would be able to handle. I'll not be able to comment on that now. Thank you so much, Ravi. Tell us if electromagnet works on AC. You're asking as a question if electromagnetic. Yes, ma'am. For an electromagnetic, obviously has to be. Okay. Thank you. I'll have a thing to follow up. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutor and avail your courses at affordable prices.